Okay, so the front of the fender is all mounted to the frame. Now I want to make the struts for the rear. I already bent one of them, just doing mock-up right now to get it all right, and it's actually sitting pretty nicely. Obviously this will get cut off and it'll be mounted underneath the bung, but I have the bends right. Now I have to match the other side exactly. So I just made a template, you know, to get my bends correct. I just took a piece of welding wire and bent it to the shape that I want, and I'm using this as my template to follow when I'm bending all the rod. Might be pretty close. I just have to change this one a hair. Barely. All right, so I got the struts all tacked together. Right now they're still bolted up on here. I'm about to take them off, take them over the welding table and start welding. I'm really happy with the way they came out. Shape's nice. Everything's good. I'm not feeling these bolts though. I'm gonna make a bolt that works in there that's got like a domed head with a slot. I think it'll look better. Just simple. And then another thing that I'm gonna get to a little bit later is, let me grab something here. The bottom of the fender still has to get trimmed. It's just squared off right now. So I need to cut it, you know, give it some shape, round off the bottom. So I was thinking I'll have the bottom match the top. So I made a pattern off of the way that the rear fender is shaped. And then I'm gonna transfer that onto the bottom and I'll cut it out. So they kind of match. I think it'll look good. So to mount the struts off the frame, I want to use the stock mounting tabs. I really like the shape and the way they look, and also it offsets the strut a little bit back from the mounting hole, which the mounting hole's here. I'm going to weld the strut straight up from here. Also, you get your chain guard bracket included in the whole thing, and so they're great. They look good, they work good, and I like them. So I took those brackets, I welded them to the struts that I made. I made some new bolts for the top mounts. You know, it's a challenge because I wanted everything to be evenly spaced. I metal finished everything. It came out nice and smooth. I'm happy with it. Don't do that. All right, so I started with just a blank shell for a Sportster tank. I don't really like how the shape of them stock, so I wanted to shorten it, and I'm sectioning it, narrowing it. So I removed 1.25 inches from the rear of it and 1/4 inch from the front. It's tapered. I'll show in the video how I did that. So that got cut off nice and clean. And then I got a center line, split the tank in half, and now I'm going to remove material from the center and then tack it back together and weld it. Basically it's going to go from 5/8 narrowed in the back, tapered up to 1/2 inch in the front. So we're going to do that process now. Yeah, it's good right now. Yeah, I already have the tunnel ready. I did.
Keep holding on when my trains take you like
Basically, I just have to use that as a guide. It's pretty good. Now I just gotta tack it. So the tank is all sectioned now. It's been narrowed and shortened. And now I just have to tack it together so it's in the right position, and then gonna weld it together. It's thin sheet metal, so you can't overheat it, so you have to go really slow, like a tack every inch or so.
Fat fingers, thick skin.
Was that hot? I bet it got hot.
No.
Yeah, but it's such a bitch to get that radius, you know? It takes a minute. I mean, it's just getting the radius right for the tunnel that has to get cut into here. You know, I want to get the depth right for a shot if I can, so that the tunnel can sit, you know, nice and clean into the tank, and it'll have the right depth so that the tank sits at the right height on the frame, because this determines the height of the tank, basically. Never mind that hole I blew through the seam right there, but it's gonna get cut out anyways. That's pretty good. I don't look at that, Dylan. It's not done. I'm liking where it's going. I think it can drop a little bit in the front.
Damn, it almost follows the fucking...
I know, it does.
Shit. Are you sure you want to fuck with it? It kind of follows the frame nice.
Yeah, it does.
That is not bad.
It looks cool. I like it. Yeah, I actually think that the height is pretty good. If you stand back.
It follows the frame. Nice.
Yeah. All right, so I have the tank welded together down the middle. I cut my hole for the filler cap. That's the bung right there inside the cap. And just now checking to see how it's sitting on the tunnel. The tunnel's on there, bolted down in the rear. I have the tab already there. I'm gonna have to make tabs for the front after everything's welded together as far as the tunnel goes. I haven't made a base yet. So first, now that I see where I want it to sit, I'm gonna cut this part off, and then I'll weld a base onto the tunnel, and then I'll weld the whole tank together. But I am really liking the shape of the tank a lot. I think it sits on the bike nicely. And yeah, here we go. I've got my line marked for cutting, where this will connect to the base. Next up, cut. Okay, so I didn't cut all the way through. As I was doing it, I was like, wait, I'm just gonna score this with the cutoff wheel, with the cutting blade on it, and see if I can just bend it into place once it's scored, and then I'll weld it, you know, for strength, obviously, and make sure that there's no holes. So I just bent the first side, and it actually bent pretty easily. And then this side, I just scored it right now. I just cut it. So now I'm gonna bend it. This one's a little harder to bend because I don't have anything to grab onto really, and I don't wanna tweak the tunnel. So now I'm gonna take this flat bar, clamp it, and I'll bend it over that. So let's see what happens. I think we're in business. I got all my tolerances really good now. There's like really no gap anywhere around between the tank and the base. So I clamped the shit out of it so it can't warp from the heat as I'm welding this seam. So I'm gonna weld this side first, I'll flip it, and I'll weld the other side. And hopefully everything stays straight and I get a nice clean bead going. So everything was going really good today. I got the tunnel all dialed, all my fitments were perfect. Like the tank and the tunnel and the base were all sitting together really nice. I started welding the seam on the tunnel to the base piece, and it was going okay, and then disaster struck and I blew a hole through it. Yeah, I'm not stoked right now. Shit happens, and I'm gonna do my best to fix it, and if I can't, then I'm just gonna get another tunnel going and start over. Ah, I got greedy. Fuck. I gotta go really, really, really slow. I guess I'll just keep burning through welding rod. I just don't know if there's even a purpose in it, because I don't want to put this on the bike. I have to start over. So I'm not super experienced with welding sheet metal. This whole thing is a learning process. You know, I've done some of it, but not a lot. So, you know, I'm trying to learn from my mistakes, and I wasn't really comfortable repairing that piece that I had blown some holes through. So rather than fixing it, I just threw it in the trash and decided to start over. So I made another tunnel. You know, I did learn from my mistakes, and my technique was a lot better the second time around, and it came out really nice. And I'm happy that I took the time and decided to redo it, and it was a good decision. And then I went on and did some light metal finishing to the tank. Okay, so I got my filler bung all welded in. Should be good to go. I don't think there'll be any leaks. I checked it pretty good. I left my welds here kind of big. I didn't want to knock them down too much, just to keep strength, avoid cracking later on. And next up, so I have my base on there now. I haven't welded it yet, but first I'm going to make my front tank mounts. So I'm going to do that now and tack those on. Making some front tank mounts. I've already made one. Didn't really work out spacing wise, so going for it again. I think that's the right angle. I have my tank mount tabs on there. They're just bolted into place right now. You know, there's no gaps. Everything fits pretty nice. I'm liking the way that they sit on there. So now I'm gonna tack them on in place here, and then I'm gonna weld them. What's up, you guys? I've gotten some good progress done on the tank. It's all welded together now. The mounts are on it. I still need to finish weld and metal finish the front tabs, but they're tacked on for now. The tank's sitting how I want. You know, I just, you know, lightly metal finished the seams for now because I don't want to go too heavy. It's gonna get Bondo, and I don't, you know, I want to keep it as strong as possible, not risk having any cracks. I went ahead and pressure tested the tank. I ended up filling a couple pinholes. Now it's watertight. I really like the way that it looks on the bike. Now I'm going to move on to the next step, which is foot controls and pipes.